Welcome back, everybody. It is October 8th, 2018, 8:48 p.m. Whoa, did I miss you guys? I'm so sorry. It's been so long since we have put a video out. I explained yesterday a little bit in a nutshell about what Caroline and I have been doing the last 3 or 4 days. I know we've mentioned we just recently moved. We both recently started new jobs. So that has been taking up a lot of our time, unfortunately. But there is good news with that. We do have a period of time. I'm going to try to begin a schedule with this channel as far as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday being definite days for videos, even multiple videos, as set days. Now, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be a bit tough for us because of our current schedule. That is going to change over time, but I just wanted to put the warning out there that if you don't see a video for a day or two, don't think that it's because we are not following the information going on or the seriousness of Michael, especially now Hurricane Michael, as of today, Category 1. It has just passed the threshold of Cuba. It has shot the gap basically between Cancun, Mexico, and Cuba. We can remember this from Hurricane Nate from last year. The reason I bring that up is because Nate was one of those storms that shot the gap. That's what they call the term of these storms that go between Cuba and Cancun, this little area of water here, and then you enter the Gulf, and then it's a free-for-all, basically. The Gulf is very warm right now, very able to sustain cyclones. The warm water, the warm temperatures. If I brought up the lightning chart right now, you could just see storms all over the place. And that's not all we're worried about. We have Hurricane Sergio also in the Pacific Ocean. Now you could see here we have Michael right now, some max sustained winds at 85 miles per hour. That's within Category 1 range. We're getting gusts of up to 100 miles an hour as of now. That's the last reading I got. I saw the number 100. So we can see that Michael has the potential to strengthen. We could be dealing with a Category 2 storm at landfall. I don't want to go much higher than that as far as a prediction. I don't like making predictions at all. But according to the data we have right now, guys, there's really not much place else for Michael to go according to what's going on around it, the different pressures, the different things steering this storm. Every model has this thing coming straight up the Gulf and hooking right in to the panhandle of Florida, particularly the Panama City, Mexico Beach, and Port St. Joe area, which is like right in here. We're going to get into a little more detail, but let's get back to that. Oh boy, where did it go? Here we go. Let's check this radar out here. I'm going to stop so I can go a little quicker. But you could see the last about 12 to 15 hours, Michael was a tropical storm underneath Cuba, and as we get into current time, which is right now, we could see it has finally cleared that western side of Cuba, and now central rotation is now officially in the Gulf. It's above Cancun, it's above Cuba here, and now what you want to look at is what the waves are doing. Now, these waves, or bands, I should say, we got our counterclockwise motion. You see these bands, and they're coming up, and it's almost looking like they're going straight up. And that's due to a few things. There is an incoming pressure from this side that is partly has to do with Sergio and the reason it's taking its course. In fact, let's look really quick at Sergio. If we click it here, you could see the path it's taken is very rare. A lot of the times you see these storms, they'll come out here, and like we saw earlier in the season, they would just head west towards Hawaii. They would come up into this area and then dissipate for the due to the cooler water. But this one's a little bit different. Sergio formed and then kind of did like a hook back. And now it's expected to go through the Baja region and then potentially affect Arizona, New Mexico, and even Texas going into next weekend. So we need to keep an eye on that as well. Could be a big rainmaker in areas that are not used to it. This would be, I think, the second storm that has done this. bringing rain to areas near South Carolina, Arizona, and New Mexico. But again, main focus right now is absolutely Hurricane Michael. This chart will update soon. I believe the storm is a little bit more north now. It's actually moving north at 10 miles per hour. Not super fast, not super slow, but again, they are expecting a landfall around Wednesday, mid-afternoon. Now, I'm showing you this temperature chart because this is going to play a factor into Michael and what happens to Michael afterwards. We need to focus on the Chesapeake Bay area as well, and I'm going to explain that as easily as I can. So what we're looking at here is a dip in the jet stream. That's why you're seeing these cool temperatures. Anytime we get those dips, especially this time of year, you're going to see the 30s and the 40s. That's allowing that cool air to come down from Canada, and then you see it come up this way, and saying it's warmer in the basically the mid area of the country all the way to the northeast. But what this is doing is this is part of our jet stream. This is moving west to east, and eventually this wall here, this front wall, is going to be the reason that Michael comes up through the panhandle, and then it's going to shoot very quickly out right over basically Virginia and Delaware and the Chesapeake Bay. You can even throw New Jersey into that mix. I know that's looking ahead into the future, but what you got to look at is what goes on around these storms and not exactly what the storm is doing. These storms do not move on their own. They are moved by things around them. Current spaghetti plots, again, every model is basically the same besides a few little stragglers here. One of these models has it going into the Gulf and then doing a little reversal and then coming over the north central part of Florida, I guess you can call that. Hurricane Michael, I don't usually get too personal on this channel besides when I'm talking about me and Caroline, having fun or doing what we do. But I had an uncle pass away basically a year ago. September 20th of last year, my uncle Michael passed away. I was very close with him, especially when I was younger. We've always kept in touch. He actually was living with my grandma at the time of his passing. And they live right in between basically Orlando and Daytona. So it's a little more towards the east coast of Florida. But I saw the list earlier in the year, and I had two family members on this list that have actually recently passed away. Joyce was a very close aunt of mine that passed away a few years ago. And then my Uncle Michael, 1 year ago, it was September 20th was the year anniversary that he passed away. And I remember having this conversation with my mom about Michael being on the list, and she even told me, she's like, could you imagine Michael forms and hits Florida? And this was months ago now, and now we are looking at Michael, and it's almost a certainty that it will indeed hit Florida. Maybe not particularly where he lived in Florida, which is actually a good thing. My grandma's actually visiting New York. My family is from New York, so she's in New York. She's staying there until the storm is gone away from Florida. She's not traveling, which is a good thing. But basically, that's all I wanted to say about the personal part of this storm for me, because of the name, the time of year, just all sorts of weird synchronicities right there. But back to the info, guys. So as of right now, 1 p.m. Wednesday is around that area where we could expect landfall. And again, it's right in that Panama City, Mexico Beach, and Port St. Joe area. State of emergency is in Florida and Alabama. Now, even when this video uploads, we could be seeing Mississippi and even Georgia involved with that state of emergency because of the direction that this storm is expected to go. Now, you see this pretty dramatic hook, and that is why I showed you this temperature chart right here. That's because we have a dip in the jet stream that's moving fairly quickly west to east, and by the time Michael gets to this area, this front part of this jet stream wall is going to be over in this area. So the second it gets to land, it's going to be pushed out into this direction, and it looks like it's going to be pretty quick, which is why I want to put some stress out there, or stress the fact that this storm is going to be very strong still, even when it passes through Virginia and the Chesapeake Bay. And we're going to look at that on Tropical Tidbits. So, again, spaghetti plots, all very tight-knit, all very certain that this will be a panhandle landfall. That obviously does not change the fact that Alabama has declared state of emergency. The storm is too close for comfort. That is why I also believe Georgia will join that, and possibly even Mississippi. Mississippi is close enough to Alabama. Just those little coasts there just keep, it keeps you on your toes when it comes to storms that especially that enter the Gulf of Mexico. because a lot can happen in the Gulf of Mexico. You got a lot of different winds, you got shear winds, a lot of stuff that goes on, but for the most part, the upflow comes from the south, it goes up and then towards the northeast. So this is a basic pattern that you see when storms come through the Gulf, but because of that front that's coming through across the United States, we're getting this dramatic hook, and we're seeing some severe weather later on, basically in the weekend by Chesapeake Bay and Virginia. But let's take a look at the path of Michael and what to expect. Again, right now we are getting gusts of about 100 miles an hour, just as it has passed that western tip of Cuba and the eastern side of Cancun, Mexico. So again, it shot the gap here. I'm not even going to click this map because it goes based off of daylight. You're not going to see much there, but you could see here that after it had crossed that area of Cuba, it kind of got a little discombobulated, but now that we are looking at this frame 200, you could see the center of rotation is right here. So now all it has is a clear path from here all the way to the panhandle of Florida, which is unfortunate. Now, let's look at the models and we see how close they are together. They are all very much in agreement that this will more than likely be a panhandle landfall. Category 1 to Category 2, guys. We got to deal with the fact that we have this much space between here and landfall for this thing to strengthen, and there's nothing but warm water. There's minimal shear wind, so that is why they are stressing the storm surge. Now, the storm surge could be up to 12 feet. Right here, look at this. We're at the Weather Channel. I like to use this as a reference. They have good graphics that we can look at. They have the different cities and counties that are under hurricane watches and warnings. I also brought those up right here. We can see here. So even though the storm is expected to come along this way and then come up through the Panama City area, you could see even Tampa is under tropical storm watches, and then as you go north, it gets stronger and stronger. That's because of the actual size of the storm. The eye wall is extending about 170 miles out from the eye wall, which is pretty big. So there's a lot to look at here. And you can start to see these warnings stretching out into Mississippi, which is why I believe Mississippi could possibly join that state of emergency. I know there's a lot of talk about the use of that term and maybe changing it, but you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry. I understand there's a lot of people that have opinions out there about why they do it, but you know what? I'm here to tell you about the weather. I'm here to talk to you about the data we have, and that's what this channel's about. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get back to tropical tidbits. We're going to look at the European model really quick, and you could see, yes, the Europeans have it coming. Basically, it looks like it's shooting straight north. Sorry about that. That was my phone. It comes north, and then just as it gets right into that pocket between Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and then the panhandle of Florida, that's when that front we just looked at with the temperature chart that I'm going to bring up once again. You got to remember the jet stream is what controls anything that enters the U.S. Continent. So this is what we have to look forward to. Now let's get back to the model again, and you will see that is why when this thing shoots north between the 9th and 10th, you could see all of a sudden it hooks this way. That's because we have a front that is going to push it this way, and that is why the panhandle is the focus of attention right now. But you could see how quickly it hooks in and then out. And when you look at this in these different charts, you could see that this thing still almost takes the shape of a hurricane by the time it exits Virginia and Chesapeake Bay, Delaware, that type of area. So this storm is going to keep its strength. You could see 955. Check that out by the FV3 GFS version has this thing at a 955. That is easily could be Category 2. Possibly Category 3 based on those numbers. I don't think that will be the case, but we got to understand, guys, Category 2 storms are very, very significant. Now, switching over to the regular GFS model, we can still see October 10th and then Thursday. It's basically an agreement that Wednesday about mid-afternoon would be the expected landfall as of now. Again, every day a little bit could change, a couple hours here and there, and that's a big deal because that could change the fact of landfall during the daytime or in the middle of the night. That often catches people off guard, even though I believe the state of Florida is very much aware that they have a hurricane heading right in their direction. But the time of day is very important. It's a lot harder to have rescue efforts when it's nightfall. We all know that. We've been through storms at night. It's just not fun at all. There's nothing good about it. But here is the GFS version, very similar to the FV3 version. We could check out the Canadian model, which is also very much in agreement that this thing is going to head north and then hook right to the east. It's going to go right there, Panama, and you can see it's Wednesday, October 10th, and then whoosh, it goes right out. And right here is that area I'm explaining where this thing is not going to lose much strength as it crosses over. It's getting pushed by this high pressure so quickly that it actually stays intact, and that's going to be an issue come Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the Chesapeake Bay. And if any of that changes, that could be an issue for New Jersey. That could be an issue for Long Island. So Michael's not just going to affect the panhandle of Florida and areas of Alabama and Georgia. We need to be thinking about South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and then Chesapeake Bay as well, because this thing, once it gets to land, it's going to be moving very quickly. So we're talking high wind. This thing at landfall will be a big, big rainmaker. I don't have many estimates on what the rain totals are going to be. They're talking more about the state of emergency situation going on right now. If you live in any of these counties, if you don't know by now, you should know that you are under hurricane warning. If you see yourself in the red here, the orange is tropical storm warning, and then you got the watches in the lighter pink shade here. Again, you can see that goes all the way down towards Tampa. So they are not messing around with this storm. And then we got Mobile, Alabama in there, Pensacola, Florida, right where the panhandle ends, and then Mississippi, and then would be Louisiana. I don't see Louisiana declaring state of emergency, even though the storm may come north. If it gets close enough, you never know, because of some of the water inlets and all that sorts of stuff that goes with the state of Louisiana. So, guys, we're dealing with a very significant storm here, and I've been just dying to get on here to talk to you about it. It's been very frustrating to not have the time to get on here because I enjoy doing this so much, and I've been getting a lot of comments asking where I am and how everything's going, and it just, guys, sometimes I just have to... We got to work. YouTube does not pay all of our bills for us, although that would be an amazing thing. We do this because we love doing it. Caroline and I, we talk about this channel every day. We talk about different ideas, different directions we want to take it, all sorts of things. So don't ever think for a second that we will not be here. We are always here. You can reach us on Twitter, Instagram. You can email us. You can leave your comments like you do, and we try to get to you guys as soon as we possibly can. But to finish this up, let me get you guys out of here. As of right now, it's looking like Wednesday is going to be landfall. Certainly the effects of the storm will be felt way before that, but you could see 12 p.m. on Wednesday. The eye of this storm is right in that area, right by Panama City, and then as we move into 1, 2 p.m., between 2 and 3 p.m. that will be landfall, and they're expecting it right in that area. So that is what we need to prepare for, guys. I know there's a lot of videos out there right now about Michael. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's just been very hard for me to jump on here and get a video out, so I'm very glad I got to do that today. For the next couple days, you will be hearing my voice a lot. So for those of you asking where I've been, there you have it. Just been working. It's been a very busy week for us, but we are here for the next couple days, and we are going to follow this storm at least until it gets through Florida, and we got to make sure everybody's okay. So with that said, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you for staying patient with us. We miss you just as much as you miss us. And that's a fact. So as of right now, guys, we got to deal with a possibly Category 2 landfall storm, Hurricane Michael, panhandle of Florida, Wednesday afternoon. I hope everybody's safe. Stay dry out there, and we will talk very soon. And by that, I mean tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and we'll be back soon. Bye-bye, guys.